Welcome to the Historic Preservation Commission meeting on this Thursday, May 14th, 2026. Hearings before the Historic Preservation Commission are quasi-judicial in nature. This is a design review process to determine if the proposed project is congruous with the special character of the historic district or landmark. Decisions of the commission are based on the record of these proceedings. The Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Landmarks Historic Districts and Landmarks, and the Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation. Evidence submitted to the Commission for review becomes a part of the record. Appeals of Commission decisions are made to the Wilmington Board of Adjustment and then the Superior Court and are based on the record. Appeals must be filed within 30 days of the date of the Commission's action. Evidence is received during the evidentiary hearing portion of an agenda item. Those who want to address the Commission are sworn as witnesses to present material and substantial evidence to the Commission. The chair recognizes those who want to submit such evidence during the evidentiary hearing. Evidence should be directed to the commission. To ensure that evidence is properly recorded, please come to the podium, address the commission, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Members of the Historic Preservation Commission are appointed by the City Council and serve at its discretion. Our responsibility is to protect and preserve properties within the city's designated historic districts. We adhere to the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, as well as applicable North Carolina state law, to assess whether exterior changes align with the unique character of the city's historic districts. It is important that we deliberate the merits of each request in a manner that provides a record of the basis for our decisions. Please remember that our deliberation should center on how a project meets the design standards and whether the proposed change is congruous or not. Commissioners, if you have received or been made aware of any outside evidence related to any of the matters, please recuse yourself. And if you would also please, everyone, turn off your cell phones or set them to silent mode, and thank you for that. I would like to introduce staff. Gina Essie, Assistant City Attorney, Linda Painter, our Planning Director, Ben Riggle, Historic Preservation Planning Manager, Alden Finholm, Historic Preservation Planner, and Amy Bradshaw, our Planning Coordinator, to my right. And if the commissioners would please introduce themselves over to my left.
Beth Rutledge. Allison Watts.
Christopher Yermal.
Ashley Wilson.
Stephen Sulkey.
Ross Tomaselli.
And Amy over here will swear in any witnesses who wish to speak this evening.
If I could have all staff, applicants, and members of the public, anybody who wishes to speak this evening will need to stand up and raise your right hand. Please note that you must stand up and be sworn in order to speak this evening. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
First item of business in regards to the meeting minutes from our last meeting on April 9th, 2026. Any changes needed, questions, comments, or would someone like to make a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. Then 230 McRae Street, that has been withdrawn. So new business, 509 Orange Street. Enclosure of a rear porch on 509 Orange.
Good evening. Hearing 2 is for the proposal to enclose a portion of the rear second-story porch at 509 Orange Street. The property is located on the north side of Orange Street, 3 parcels east of the intersection of 5th Avenue and Orange Street. The subject house is a contributing resource to the historic district residential neighborhood, and in this district, all facades of the building and site are subject to design review. The following property description is adapted from the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Report. The Taylor House, constructed 1904, is a 2-story residence featuring a hipped roof with projecting pediment gables. The full-width front porch includes a central pediment, turn posts, decorative balustrade, and ornamental brackets with pendants. Additional character-defining features include a 2/2 sash windows, a polygonal bay on the first floor. This slide shows the applicant provided photographs of the primary dwelling and the proposed work area. The rear north facade photograph identifies the portion of the second floor porch proposed for the enclosure. highlighted by the applicant. The close-up of the second floor rear porch shows the area running from the exterior side wall to the central column that is proposed for the enclosure. In this slide are additional applicant photographs of the second floor rear porch. As stated before, the applicant proposes to enclose the proportion of the existing second floor porch to create an interior room. The enclosure will span from the current exterior side wall to the central column. The new exterior wall will use 5-inch reveal lapped wood siding painted to match the existing exterior. The existing building footprint and site layout will not be altered. Additionally, the existing window from the current exterior wall will be relocated to the new enclosure wall. The existing exit door will also be relocated to the new enclosure. New trim will be installed using PT wood, jam trim with decorative PT wood header trim, and all trim will be painted white to match the existing trim profile and color. This slide shows the proposed final elevation drawings with the enclosure and the relocation of the door and window. The retaining open porch area adjacent to the stairs will be retained. This slide shows additional drawings and a photo of the door and window proposed to be relocated. If the commission elects to issue a certificate of appropriateness, staff recommends the following conditions. No other alterations to the house shall be made as a result of this project. No mature trees, historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of this project. All construction must comply with applicable laws, codes, and permits. Any changes or modifications to the plan will require additional HPC or staff review. Staff would like to enter tonight's presentation and report into the records of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Any questions? No? Good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is the applicant in attendance, or would their agent like to come forward and answer any questions or provide any additional information?
No, I think the submission covers it pretty well.
Okay. Well, do we have any questions about this? Or are we just going to let it go with a staff presentation?
Well, we need public.
Oh, true. Yes, I'm sorry. Well, sir, I'm sorry. I do have one question about this. If you could come forward, please, and state, and I don't know if you were sworn in.
No, he would need to be sworn in. So when he gets to the microphone. If you could raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So my name is James Seaver, and I'm the owner of the house.
Okay. Question is, if we could flip to that photograph that shows the rear elevation. One thing that you and your designer, your architect have done is done a really good job in all the details you've listed of using wood, the same reveal, and trim details to match. Just two quick items. One, where that box is, you have that little piece of vertical trim right there on the second floor that kind of borders the porch. Can you keep that piece of trim there and then run siding to that? Like, you're not going to weave in all new siding across that upper floor, right?
Could you just point out on, I'm not sure where you're, white vertical board.
Yeah, so that's,
Okay.
oh, it does stay
No,
there.
that's the horizontal, the vertical.
Oh, yeah, I see that, yeah.
So everything to the left of that cursor right there is going to
Yeah.
be siding, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah,
but the-
so I would request that you leave that trim piece that shows a distinction between
Oh, yeah.
the original and the new. Because you're
Yes.
doing such a good job, you're
Yeah.
creating this false sense of history, so if you leave that, that will tell future folks to look at this, oh, that was enclosed.
Yeah, yeah.
Secondly, the window, just so your architect, Blair Goodrich, and we may want to make this a condition, but the idea to remove an existing window and then reinstall that in a new location, you just want to talk to your architect and make sure that you will get a letter from him to present that to the code inspector, that at some point the building inspector that's going to come through, and make sure that that window meets the current standard for construction on a window.
Okay.
And so we may also then want to approve another condition that if you find that that window cannot be reused, that we would approve a new wood window that looks like this one, that you would purchase new from a factory, and then you can install that.
Okay, there is, just by the way, there is storm windows on top of the existing windows.
Yeah, then you would
And
reinstall that.
we would install that too, so
Yeah,
that's what's.
okay, well, certainly talk to your architect before you get through with this. You don't want at the last minute your inspector to come through and find that you're not allowed to
No.
keep that existing window. Hopefully you
Okay,
can.
will do, yeah.
It's up to the inspector, but, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
If there's anyone in the audience who'd like to speak in favor or against this item? Okay, seeing none, Commissioner deliberation. Any other thoughts on this? No? If someone would like to make a motion, I would recommend we make a motion to include also a point that
Okay.
if this window isn't allowed to be reused, they get a new one to match the existing.
I move to approve with conditions the request for rear porch enclosure for the property located at 509 Orange Street. This request is consistent with Wilmington Design Standards of Historic Districts and Landmark based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing and staff report. Conditions 1 through 4 and condition 5, that if the current window cannot be used due to its wind speed, et cetera, the window can be replaced with a new 2/2 wooden window.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in
Mr.
favor?
Mr. Chair,
I'm sorry.
sorry, just a point of clarification. Did you also want a condition on the vertical trim piece being retained?
That doesn't, well, we could. I'm not, the architectural plan, it's not real clear if that's there or not. It is a question. So if you could include that
Okay.
as
Okay.
condition number 6.
Condition number 6 is that the vertical white trim board at the edge of the house where the new addition is going to be inserted will remain.
Yes, thank you for that, Linda. Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously.
Okay.
Thank you. Next agenda item, this is 814 Macumber Alley.
Good evening, Commissioners. Case 3 is for the proposed construction of a new front gable, two-story house on the currently vacant parcel at 814 Macumber Alley. As described by staff based on direct observation, the parcel at 814 Macumber Alley is currently a vacant grassy lot. The property is a non-contributing resource to the Historic District Residential, and all revisions to all portions of the site are subject to design review in this district. The subject property is located on the south side of Macumber Alley, the second full parcel east of its intersection with Polfgott Alley. Although currently vacant, the existing parcel was previously developed with a small two-story frame dwelling as depicted on the Sanborn map from 1951. Based on publicly available historic aerial photographs, the house that was previously located on this parcel was demolished circa 1965. Unfortunately, no photographs of that house were found in the archives. Because of the slanted nature of Macumber Alley in comparison to the surrounding road grid, the house will be set in a stepped orientation with the neighboring dwellings oriented to parallel the road system. The proposed house will be 26 feet wide and 42 feet deep, including the front porch with a total height of 30 feet 10 inches. The new house will have a front setback from Macumber Alley of approximately 15.8 feet to the northwest corner and 35.8 feet to the northeast corner, while the rear of the house will have a setback of approximately 15 feet. The west side setback will be 3.9 feet, while the east side setback ranges from 3.9 feet at the rear of the house to 3.6 feet at the front of the house. The front facade will be 3 bays wide and will feature an integral 2-story stacked front porch with a brick facade foundation supported by 6-inch square panel columns. The main entry will be in the west bay of the first floor, while the second story of the porch will be accessed by French doors with a transom in the centered bay of the second story. The decking of the new porch will be concrete with brick row lock on the first floor, while tongue and groove decking will be used on the second floor. The porch will be accessed by brick steps on the northwest corner of the front north facade. The second story of the porch has a simple handrail with pickets at 5 inches. A diamond louver vent will highlight the gable end on the front facade. The proposed front door will be a two-thirds lighted fiberglass entry door with a transom over the entrance. The remaining 4 bays of the front elevation will have 1/1 gel wind single hung V2500 3 foot by 6 foot in size windows adorned with raised paneled shutters. The house will rest on a block foundation approximately 12 to 16 inches from grade and parched with a gray mortar. The cladding for the new house will be a hardy lap siding with square clapboard with a hardy shake feature in the front end gable. The roof will be covered in charcoal colored timberline HDZ architectural shingles and will have a pitch of 8/12, while a 5-inch seamless white gutter will collect rain runoff. A corbel and frieze will ornament the proposed roof line. The side and rear elevations will also have gelled wind white vinyl single hung V2500 windows in a variety of sizes. The rear elevation will feature a centered sliding door covered by a low shed roof supported by brackets and accessed by brick steps from a 10-foot by 8-foot patio. The wall section, roof framing plan, foundation plan provided by the applicant can be seen here. The first and second floor plans as provided by the applicant can be seen here. And then these are the project specifics provided by the applicant. The applicant proposes adding a gravel parking area in front of the house. The gravel parking area will extend from Macumber Alley to the front of the house approximately 20 feet in width. While generally considered inappropriate for the HDR, several other houses along Macumber Alley feature active gravel parking areas in front of the dwelling, as can be seen in the photo on the right provided by the applicant. Staff notes that if the dwelling is to be used for homestay or whole house lodging, it is subject to the applicable requirements for those uses as prescribed in section 18-57C and D, respectively, of the Land Development Code. The parking requirements for these uses may preclude the use of proposed gravel parking area for guest parking as, quote, guest parking for homestay uses is required to be behind the plane of the front facade of the dwelling unit, except for improved parking surfaces that existed as of March 1st, 2019. Only curb cuts existing as of March 1st, 2019 may be used to provide the required off-street parking for the whole house lodging. If approved, staffing recommends the following conditions. All door and window glazing shall be clear with no tint. All hardy material shall be installed smooth side out with the texture side hidden. The proposed exterior shutters, even if decorative only, shall appear operable by being proportionate to the window openings, not mounted flush against the facade wall and constructed of wood. The proposed foundation shall be raised at least 12 inches, but no more than 24 inches above grade on the house's front facade. The gravel parking area shall not exceed 20 feet in width and shall not extend into the public right-of-way. The gravel area shall feature a wash stone, number 57 or number 78 gravel with a reinforced grid to stabilize the gravel surface and keep the stone on site. A right-of-way permit for the gravel parking alley area shall be obtained prior to beginning the installation of the parking area. All construction shall comply with code, and any changes to the project shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Any questions? How do we reconcile the supposition that this may be used as maybe a short-term rental or a homestay, as you noted, and this requirement about the driveway? I mean, we need to...
So staff just provide that as a point of information because we've had a lot of comments recently and questions about short-term lodging uses, what the requirements are. So we're trying to be more proactive about letting anyone know what those requirements are. We actually just sent a letter out to all property owners in the HDR, reminding them of the requirements in the code. It does not say you can't use your property for those uses, but there are certain requirements that apply, and we want to make sure property owners are aware of them.
Okay. And can you just summarize again? Like, let's say maybe we'll find out from the applicant if they're going to use this for homestay, but what was the requirement then if regarding parking if it is homestay?
All right. If it's to be used for homestay or whole house lodging, it is subject to applicable requirements for those uses as prescribed in section 18-157C and D, respectively, of the Land Development Code. The parking requirements for these uses may preclude the use of the proposed gravel parking area for guest parking as Guest parking for homestay uses is required to be behind the plane of the front facade of the dwelling unit, except for improved parking surfaces that existed as of March 1st, 2019. Only curb cuts existing as of March 1st, 2019 may be used to provide the required off-street parking for the whole house lodging.
Okay. Still no questions right now?
It's not really within our purview. They're just saying that.
It's just an FYI.
Yeah, understood.
But we're allowed to ask the applicant directly, aren't we?
Can we ask, must they tell us if they're going to be using this for homestay? I don't know.
I'll defer to Gina on whether you can ask. I would say, again, staff provided this just as a point of information because we're trying to be more proactive of letting people know what requirements are. I don't think how the house is going to be used influences what you're looking at, which is the design of the structure and the design of the site.
Okay.
Yes, I would agree. I don't believe that you are prohibited from asking that, but it should, in the answer, whether the applicant chooses to answer or not, that's
Okay.
up to the applicant. It should have absolutely no bearing on your decision whatsoever.
Okay.
Because any future use and compliance with future use is then on the homeowner.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah, one quick question. On the map, they're showing about a 10 by 10 shed. Is that the existing shed on the other side of
It's
the
been
fence?
moved. There's been that shed is not across the property line anymore unless because there's a fence.
Yeah, in the picture is the
Yeah.
fence and the shed, and now on the map, the shed is like sitting in the middle of a property.
Yeah,
That's what
I'm pretty sure the shed was moved.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is the applicant available to come forward and answer any questions or provide clarification?
Okay.
If you'd come forward, please, and state your name and address.
Tim Johnson, 2316 Waverly Drive.
Kurt Andelson, 102 Mount Vernon Drive.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the presentation that was provided to us by staff?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're good. No questions for the...
I guess one quick question. You're going to have guttering. Where is the guttering water going? Because I looked at the lot, and it seems like you're in a bit of a basin there. So I guess you're taking some steps on that issue and to get the stormwater someplace?
You want to answer that? Go ahead. And we're going to do some grading to get obviously to get the
Sir,
house up.
can you get
Go
closer to the microphone?
microphone,
Yeah,
please.
we're going to do some grading to get the house up to standards at least 12 to 24 inches high.
Okay.
In that, we'll hopefully get it high as the street to be able to run the gutters out towards the street.
Out to the alley?
Yeah, out towards the
Okay,
alley.
all right.
If the natural flow is going to take them to the back, they're going to have to probably go to the back. But we'll have to see once the project starts how high we can get it up, if we can get it back to the street.
Okay, all right.
I guess I have a question about the sides of the home. So from the front elevation, it really looks to be pretty congruent with other homes in the historic district. But once we get to the side, there's sort of a shortage of windows. There's only a couple of windows on each side. Would you consider, or would you be open to putting more windows in to make it more congruent?
Can you pull up?
Yeah, what does that side elevation look like, please,
Pull
Ben?
up Here you go.
Is this the elevation of
Yeah,
the
so
side?
the upstairs, just having one window there is like fairly uncommon for a two-story home.
Is that a hall and stairway going up there that you don't have a window?
So the window, not showing any grills, that's actually in the stairwell. The transom window to the side of it's in the bathroom.
Okay.
It could be possible to, I think there's 2 double windows on the rear in those 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
So, as you see in the rear elevation there. So, it could be possible to have one in each bedroom on the rear and then add the other on the sides.
Why is the one window there a full light and not a one?
It's up high in a stairwell.
Okay, so there's no.
It's fixed. It doesn't
Correct.
open, right? It's not meant to look like a operable, like single or double hung. Right, that's why.
Okay.
But we would prefer in those 2 bedrooms, because of the way the closets are positioned,
Gotcha.
That would be the bed wall, and the window would kind of shift the bed a little too far away. That's why the two twin windows are on the rear.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? I'm curious, so one of our, aside from any of this stuff with what you're using the house for, we don't need to get into that, but in these standards that we're to adhere to as much as possible, 2.4, 10, and 12 both mentioned designing off-street parking in the rear or side yard. Also states parking areas placed directly in front of the primary buildings are inappropriate. So we're making judgments based on the district as a whole, but we can't help but realize that Macumber Alley is a universe unto itself, and that you have almost every house there has parking in the front. And with gravel in the front, even with a grid under the gravel, the 57 or 58 stone, that stone will still want to move around, and it doesn't look great. And regardless of the fact that other people have these kinds of driveways there, would you be amenable to a concrete, like a pervious paver, which is like a grid, a block? It's like concrete, and you put it down. You could put gravel in the middle of that just to give it a little bit more of an aesthetic, instead of gravel that's going to move and still with pulling onto these grid systems underneath the stone, that still is going to, at some point, it's going to move around. You're going to see the plastic of it. So I wonder if you would be fine with the idea of putting down concrete pavers that have either a diamond-shaped grid or squares. There are all kinds of different things to do to give it a little bit more of a presentation there, to try to help us with reconciling this design standard about not having driveways in the district in the front.
I don't think we'd be opposed to it, but would also maybe consider doing a border with the stones you're talking about.
Gotcha.
And having the gravel in the middle.
Okay, I could see
So
that.
wouldn't be
Okay,
opposed to it.
okay. All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Is there anyone else in attendance like to speak in favor or against? Sir, if you would please come forward here and state your name and address.
Good evening, my name is Anthony Demings. I live at 812 Macumber Alley. And before I start my conversation, could we set up the site plan for the driveway?
Oh, we're pulling up the photos.
The photos, yes, please. But first, can I look at the site plan of the property, where the driveway is going to be? It was up on the board. It's right there, I think.
Would that be sufficient, or do you want the full site plan?
Nope. I just want the drawing, the schematic of the driveway. Just had it, keep going.
You went backward, down.
Right there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking, where's the front? How many feet is the first car, how many feet back? Is it 35 feet from the road? This
It's like
right
it's
here?
30, that shows 35.8.
Down to
35
15.
feet here. But now, will the second car that's be off to the left, will that fit? Is this the problem we have on Macumber Alley? The rear end of the car normally sticks out on the second one.
That shorter dimension on this plan,
Yes.
if everything comes out to the plan, and the survey was done well, and they follow this, it's 15.8 feet, which...
Yeah. It's pretty tight because a lot of cars are 16. They normally recommend 18 feet because you don't want to be right up against the porch either. So you're going to be hitting the porch at that 15 feet. And you're going to hit the porch and you're going to hit part of the Macumber Alley. I'd like that be considered of probably moving the house back a little bit for their own safety because they're going to hit that porch on the second car where the road is narrow, where it goes smaller. That's number one. Number two is we hope when they dig up for the infrastructure that they put the cobblestones back. Because what they do is they tar it. They take the cobblestones out, you'll see it, some sections.
The pavers in the alley, you mean?
Pavers in the alley, if they would reset them back.
Why would
Is that
they?
the basalt? Is that what's in that alley right now, do you know?
They put some black tar over there used to be cobblestone or some kind of pavers.
See.
But at least put the
Okay.
pavers back. All right.
Well, that's done, that work in the alley is done by a right-of-way permit.
Oh, okay, I'll go on that.
So that's up to another department within the city.
That's the city.
But I'm sure they would sure that they would require that and ensure that that's done.
Okay. Also, I had the pleasure of meeting the developer, and he, about several months ago, and he showed me the prints, showed me the 2 stories, and I offered my disbelief. All the houses on Macumber Alley and Provost Street is 1 story, maybe 1 story and a half. And I honestly thought it would be too much, but I tried it. If you could bring up those photos, please, that we had. Okay. The proposal is for a 2-story, 2-porch, show the 2 houses if they could. I got one with it.
Yeah, one's above the other, so we can just scroll down here.
Okay. There it is. Okay, if you look at the house on the right, that's the kind of proposed house they're going to have, a 2-story, 2 full porches, upper and lower. Now, my saying is, it's just too much for the neighborhood if you approve of 2. If you look to the right, to the left side, the greenhouse, it's the same, almost identical house, and what happens, they put up 1 porch, and the second floor does not have a porch. It kind of smooths out the neighborhood, it relaxes the neighborhood, otherwise you've got a double porch, and it's just not conducive, I don't think, to our neighbors. We would prefer a 1-story, but I guess what he said, and they're probably right, so, they got to maximize the lot to the property for financial reasons. We're against the 2 full stories in that neighborhood because every house there, you know, that lot is conducive, meaning it's sawtooth. The house is up on an angle. They look great, and there is only 1 level of drive-through. There's a single car, and it's nice to have pretty pictures and pretty prints, but a lot of times people don't go out to the site and see exactly what's going on in the neighborhood. It is a unique neighborhood. It's the only neighborhood that has that is diagonal. They call us the diagonal people in that neighborhood.
Right.
That's my story on that and what can be done. And if they have the 2-car parking, I wish they would curb it because they always try to put a 3rd car in. Meaning on the right side, looking at the house, you've got 10 foot, you got a 20-foot driveway, and I think the balance is about 10, 12 feet, which should be grass, or should be a berm there. So you can't park a car over there, because if you look, they squeeze in 3 cars, and that last car is sticking out in the road. And we're constantly complaining about that, because especially Airbnb, we have 1 too many Airbnbs there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 houses Airbnb, 3 bedrooms, and with 3 bedrooms, you're talking about a minimum of 6 people, 8 people. They bring their cars in, they double park on the road, and you can't because you can't get by. They say, oh, it's only a few minutes. No, it's not a few minutes, that's our home. So that's what I'm worried about there, the 3rd parking spot on that, which could happen. Other than that, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions for me? Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or against? Okay, so if we could have the applicant come back forward, maybe we could talk to some of these points that were made.
I just wanted to comment on the parking. So the 15.8 feet, the 15 feet 8 inches, that's the front house corner. So the actual gravel area would be somewhere in between that 16 and 35 foot number. It would probably be more like, 20, 21 or something.
So on that site plan, the left part of it would be more than 15.8. It's going to be 16. I couldn't tell from that site plan.
The 15.8 is actually the house corner, not the driveway length. So since it's at an angle, as you're going towards the driveway, it's going up in feet. So on the far side of the house is 35.8. So you'd probably be at least 20 feet there at that driveway. And what we could do in that, we could do grass or we could do something there. We're going to do grass there, obviously, but I get his point where that if someone tries to pull and park there, then they're going to be sticking out. So we could probably do some sort of landscaping that would prohibit, someone from pulling on top of it.
Yeah. So it's kind of an arbitrary mark on that, where that 15.8 is.
The front house corner.
It's just the front right corner of the house.
It would have helped to have shown the dimension at the actual bottom part of that angled line. Stevens,
Just
go
a
ahead.
question while you're back up here. Are you intending to remove any of those cobblestone pavers on the street for construction?
So there's an existing utility tap, but we haven't been able to find it yet. If
Ah.
we do have to tap,
Yeah.
they may, I think the utilities actually run outside of the cobblestone area. If they run in it, then they'll have to be removed and put back. I imagine.
Would that be more Cape Fear Public Utilities
It
guys
would
out
be the
there?
utility contractors.
The utility contractor,
Once
yeah.
he gets it, once he finds out exactly where the sewer runs.
And I have a question, I guess, for Ms. Essay. I mean, this is a public thoroughfare, so if someone does park on it, isn't that the situation where you call WPD and they have the vehicle towed? I mean, it's like if I park in the street in front of my house, I call the cops, basically.
Correct.
So, I've thought about this parking area. So the border between the proposed parking and the rest of it, that's grass presumably or something like that. You mentioned there might be some kind of a curbing that would prevent someone maybe from pulling
We
a
could
car
do
into that third.
Landscaping, plant, crepe myrtles, whatever it needs to be.
Row
Yeah.
of bushes,
Row of
whatever.
bushes,
to prevent-
yeah.
And I guess the only question, with the two full decks, I guess that is the plan you have, and that's what you desire, and I mean, I don't know what the use is gonna be, but, so did you ever consider not having the upper deck, like gentleman was saying, or this is what you want, right?
And this came up in a meeting, the last meeting and the 2 meetings ago about the house on South Front Street, the proposed renovation of the house on Front and I think it is, about softening that effect, that vertical, heavy effect on the front of this. And so, yeah, taking into consideration this neighborhood, but the district as a whole, and particularly how this rhymes with other homes on that streetscape, I think that's something to consider, is how to make it not such a big vertical presence over that streetscape.
Well, you've got within eyesight a whole row of those townhouses that are pretty tall themselves too, so it's not exactly the only house that kind of stands out,
I kind of like porches. I like outdoor living areas.
Oh, yeah, no.
I think that people have gotten so inward, and I think the more, the better, personally.
I think I understand the point about the scale of the street, bringing a lower roof down, brings it a little more in scale with the street itself. So I kind of understand that point. I think the 2 porches, when you've got the porch on the back, you've got the front porch, you've got outdoor living.
Yeah. In the rear, there's one, it's just the first floor porch, right?
It's just patio
Yeah.
and grade.
Okay.
it's no
Oh, it's a
porch on the
patio.
back.
Okay, a patio. Okay. Okay. Anything else to add based on what we've discussed so far? Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
Thank you.
So if we'd like to open it up, and if anyone would like to speak in favor, sir, or against, would you like to come forward again, please?
Again, my name is Anthony Demings, and could you bring that map up on the parking? The schematic of it, right there. What I can't understand is the house, you got the 2 driveways, two cars, 20 feet. It's the second car. How far is the second car going to be from the porch? That's where it sticks out.
Is this?
It doesn't say it on there.
This is just essentially a screenshot of the site plan. So this is the only thing we have to judge what's between the front edge of a car that parks there and the house. We don't know what distinguishes between parking and the.
Other than, we have a couple the elevation renderings, but that's just showing basically the porch.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if we
There's
can.
no marking on here.
We don't know what
This
that
one I have
line
no
is.
problem, oops, sorry. Here you go. Yeah,
So.
where the hedges are, see them?
Okay, so this shows there's something in front of, there's more space too. So there's the front edge of the parking, and then you have this vegetation, then a few feet back from that, presumably there's, although we don't know, but it appears, we don't know what that dimension is, we don't know what that bed is that.
Right, it's just more concerned about the second car, which will be less length for parking. And that's what happens
They
with all the
already
houses.
said that they're on the 15-8 part, that they were going to plant bushes there and so that you would not, or trees or whatever, so
It's
that you
not
would
that-
not park a car there?
No, he's
It's
talking.
not that one, the
That's
second
n-
car
he-
over.
He's
from
referring to the parking
the
area
parking-
itself.
The proposed parking shows 20 feet, that's fine, but it's right where that arrow is, go up, right there. What is the measurement from that point to that point?
Okay.
And it behooves them because if it sticks out, they're gonna get tickets. We don't, it's gonna happen. It's better if they can
car's
bring it
gonna get
back a little
bumped.
bit.
Yep.
And that's,
Okay.
again, with the porch, if we can do a consideration to soften up the neighborhood, okay, I go for the two-story. But other than that, I would definitely not go personally, and a few neighbors, it looks like a tower. It's a nice home, looks like a nice home, but a home like that, it would be on a two-way street, not on an alley that only holds one car at a time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, sir, if we could,
I was just going to point out.
Yeah, let's do that.
Dimension there.
please.
I don't have.
Oh, like a
mouse.
cursor?
When we get the driveway right-of-way permit, Tim, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe.
Gentlemen, you need to speak into the microphones.
I believe 20 feet is the minimum, so when we go to get that driveway permit, if it's not 20 feet, they wouldn't approve it, so we'll make sure that side is 20 feet. That would be my comment. We're talking about the length. Yeah, but the length will be, that's the minimum required for a parking, for a driveway.
Yeah, so I think as a part of this COA for this project, it's going to, one of the things it's going to have to adhere to is anything having to do with building code and City of Wilmington's other requirements for.
Yeah.
So if that requirement is 20 feet, then if it is 20 feet, and Linda, I'm not sure if we know what that is, what the minimum length is where a car can pull in out of a.
They definitely need a right-of-way permit for this parking.
Oh, they're going to have a
area.
right-of-way
It
permit,
has to
so.
be, yeah,
that-
they'll have to go through the engineering
They're
department.
going to have to meet that minimum before this thing gets a COA and it gets a CO.
Yeah,
like
I don't know the
certificate of
exact
occupancy.
dimensions off the top of my head, but they're definitely going to have to get.
They're going to have to meet that
permit, yep.
requirement. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that and move to commissioner deliberation. So let's, I think just the things to discuss really are we've covered everything that was brought up and things that need to be really understood about this project before any approval, but what we haven't reviewed, and I think we need to talk about the height and how to soften that, and if we soften that, or if we just leave it as it's shown. If we could hear from everyone about this, what they think, and then we're gonna have to, someone's gonna have to make a motion on it.
I have no problem with it, with porches.
Okay. Yeah, got it. So as it is, as it's drawn, leave it like it is, okay. Beth?
I'm having a little bit of a hard time with this one. It's not that it is incongruous with the district.
I'm sorry, and then there's the window too, if we wanted to,
Exactly.
on the sides.
Right.
Yeah.
The windows for a two-story home, you just don't see that, where we're looking at the sides and there's one or two windows. That is, it's something that, it's not unusual in new construction in and of itself, but in terms of the district, that is incongruous. That design is not something that we often see. I think one of the, that's kind of a sticking point,
Okay.
I think.
Yep.
I think that Mr. Demings talked about how all of the homes on that street are all one story. And that is such a defining feature of that area. I am interested to find out from the other commissioners, like, we are supposed to be looking at, the congruity as a whole, but we also have this street where this really wouldn't fit. So how do we approach that?
Mhm.
I genuinely am interested to get feedback. from
I have
everyone.
an idea, well, I don't want to start off.
I think we need to ask if that's if height restrictions are in our purview, or if that's out of our purview.
It is in our purview.
Yeah, I mean, something, what if instead of a gable house, it had a mansard roof, which would soften that entire vertical?
So it just wasn't as tall.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal architecturally or physically to put a mansard instead of a gable. But, I mean, I don't know if that would be something they would consider, but if you had that sort of a roof, you wouldn't have that verticality of the roof going up that high. I'm saying that would soften the whole look of the house, because the front would have an angle and not be up there like it is.
Such a tall, yeah. Okay. So Ross, yes, it is. I mean, this is something that is in our authority to rule on tonight, whether this is even a 1-story or 2-story. I know that we have zoning regulations, but this is something that we can say if we wanted to, if we chose to as a board with our individual votes. So that said, do you have thoughts? Because I also want to hear from Ally. I know where others stand, but what do you think about this height that it is and this is the first thing that kind of stood out when I started reviewing this agenda item was knowing Macumber Alley, this is really a big kind of imposing tall structure. Beautiful as it is, the design's great, but it comes across as tall. So I don't think any of us are proposing that this is a 1-story. I don't think we're even close to even thinking that. But do you have any thoughts about the stacked porch that it has this big presentation on the front?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question is if the floor plan was changed, because I do agree the outdoor living space is nice. Is there a way to incorporate on the back of the house so it's not as imposing on the front of the alley?
I thought about that.
Give a little bit more privacy, have a master suite off the back and flip it so the 2 bedrooms are in the front, but.
Yeah, you could put a door to a 2nd-story porch out there. And so, I'm sorry, Stephen, any thoughts on this? We're going to have to get closer here, narrow this down a little bit.
To move the porch to the back, that's a whole different effect of the house. I mean, typically in the district, porches that are double like that are in the, well.
Yeah, and therefore we leave this thing open and see if they come back with a design that accommodates that, if that's where we want to go with this. I mean, we don't have to, we could see an alternate design that softens that front edge and you have something in the rear to have that outdoor space. Because right now the rear, if you look at the rear elevation, like I'm looking at on,
right,
I don't know what, page 19 of this application, like the back is, it's a double door to a stairs to a flat backyard. There's nothing in the back there.
Well, again, is it possible to take the gable off the front and the back and bring the roof in?
Or make it a hip. Is that what you said? A hip?
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't have that.
So it's not as tall, right? That's another option. So there's a way to get that 2nd floor porch. You just have the overall presentation of this, because right now it's currently an 8. You could make the pitch down to a 5 or make it a hip roof. So that kind of like reduces this scale, like Ally said, of how this presents.
Would the applicants entertain that at all?
We're going to find out in a minute. Let's see what, Ally, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really nice design. I think it could fit somewhere else in the district, but like in this little stretch, it maybe would stand out a little bit, and maybe doing a hip roof.
Yeah.
Could soften it a little bit, or just doing a 1-story porch. I think I understand wanting to have a porch off the primary suite. That's nice. So curious to hear what you think about a hip roof instead.
And then there's the windows and so there was an option that was made by the applicant about instead of having a twin window in the rear, having a single, so it works with closet space and swagging a window around to the side, to each side.
If you did the back porch on the back and then change the windows in the front, and put more on the side, you would be able to put more on the side if you didn't have the huge doors.
Yeah.
That could be a possibility too. I mean, I just think the outdoor living space is so is important.
No, it's great. It's great to have outdoor spaces attached to the house. Yes.
Agreed.
So, okay, so tell me what we think about, does someone want to make a motion on this, or do we feel like there's enough out here that we want to postpone any decision on this until the June meeting and see if something can be done with this? Or do someone feel strongly about making a motion and it's going to get, I don't know which way it's going to go with how there are a couple of things to think about. I think there's some comments on the windows on the side, and there's some ways to rearrange some things to allow for some glazing on the left and right elevations, and then this couple of options for the front and the rear. Like all four sides of this could get some adjustments. I think we've addressed the thing with the parking in the front that's certainly valid, but
It seems like there are enough design issues that we could ask the applicant to go back and come back with something else. So I think offers a lot less confusion and
It's always a lot easier to put it down on paper than it is to when you get to the point.
Right.
yeah. Sir, could either one or both of you come forward, please? So we're going to reopen the public hearing and talk to the applicant again here for a second. So you can see that there's some split and a lot of different thoughts about how to do some things on all four sides of this. How do you feel about keeping this thing open potentially till next month, getting what that would require, Ben, for them to come back? Like how soon, what would be essentially their deadline for you to see some changes to this to allow it to come back in June?
The drop dead date would be the Friday before,
Sorry for putting on the spot.
Sorry, let me get my calendar out here. Next meeting is the 11th, so if they got it to me by May 29th, I could get the case summaries updated for you guys in
Okay.
time.
So do you, you're picking up what everyone's laying down, I assume, right?
We'd rather get it done today. On the windows, I don't know if it matters, but I did talk
Sir,
to-
if you could move the microphone toward
on
you.
On the side windows, it was actually the neighbor's preference when I talked to him not to have more windows on his side. That I don't know if that matters to you guys or not. On the top porch, we've done a similar floor plan without the top porch on it, and it looks very nice. If you guys would be okay with that, we could just move forward today and do that.
Do away with the second story front porch if that's a bone of contention.
We build that same floor
And-
plan without the top porch on it.
So would you put a porch then, try to get a porch around on the second floor, or are you just trying to keep
No,
it one porch on the front?
We just do away with it. It would have the bottom porch, but not the top porch.
And we've got a picture of an existing house, if that helps.
Yeah. I hate to, Ashley, do you want to try to save them from themselves? Do you want to try to have a porch there? It sounds like they're willing to like.
No, that's fine, if they're willing to.
So potentially no second floor porch. Okay,
Obviously,
Just to get
we
it-
would
to get it-
prefer it, but if,
to get
at
this
the same time,
thing.
we'd like to get it passed.
But they want to get they want to get going and.
I'm sorry, I can see it from here, but I just need to see it one more time, what this is. And I don't know if we want to then, if this aspect of it, if we're all comfortable, it's new construction, it helps, but, okay. So if you all, we could do this by bypass, and then that's going to have to go through where staff sees this drawing, and this allows them to get this done.
If I
soon.
may, we need a record of what is being shown right now, because there's an image or something on 2 cell phones being shown that is
Yeah.
not part of the record, and we need either a description or we need
Where
it
can we
sent
send it
in. We need
Okay.
to,
I could give a description as part of a motion. if
Yeah,
we
so
did that.
tell me what this description look like?
So
And would this be
eliminating-
sufficient, Gina, to have him describe what he's showing on this photograph, and then that will get sent to Ben for, well,
yes, so I would like a description at this time, and we do need that sent to Ben so that it can be
yeah.
added to this as a matter of record.
So if you, before you describe this, Ben, if you could just pull that the front elevation, please, or if, Amy, you can do that from where you sit.
Okay.
So I presume that you're talking about keeping that gable kind of like it is. So start at the top and work down on what this would look like based on what you're willing to do to make the scale fall in line better with the neighborhood.
So essentially, the front gable would step back to the main body of the house. There wouldn't be an upper level deck. And the double door on the front would become a single window. So essentially, there'd be 3 windows across the upper. And then there would be a hip style porch over the lower level.
Over the lower level, okay.
All right, so wait, one last time though, no one likes the idea of the double porch with a hip roof above instead of the gable roof?
We could do that.
We're in favor of it.
Yeah, we could do that. That would soften it up, but it's not gonna make the roof lower, but it would soften it up.
it will
The front will be lower.
Yeah.
It'll be angled up, you won't see
Yeah.
that big peak and the big diamond and,
And essentially, we've got a nice walk-in attic area up there, is why the pitch is what it is. But with the hip, we're not opposed to that.
well, you'd still have a partial walk-in, I mean, you know, obviously you have your venting on the ridge and, anybody think anything about that idea?
I like that idea.
I think that would soften it and kind of get it a little more, I think you're achieving what we're looking for with that. And you're still getting that second
We'd
story.
be open to that for sure.
So an 8, and again, maintain the 8 and 12 pitch, right? Okay, so let's start at the top again and describe that, because we don't have an image of this, nor do you have an image right now, so.
Not with that roof on it, no.
So describe this again, please.
So we're in favor of keeping the front
And
deck.
please, you're gonna it's really important for you guys to speak into the microphone because this is being recorded, and since it is on the record,
Yeah.
it's so important for you to be on the
move
mic.
those microphones right in front of each of you, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to get this thing done with you. Oh, wow.
There we go.
Look at that.
Okay. So yeah, swag that microphone in front of you, and then, so describe this again. Now we're talking about a hip, so describe it please in your own words, and let's see if we can do this.
So essentially keeping the same upper level front porch, adding a hip roof, whether we reduce it to a 612 or keep it at 812, and everything else would essentially stay the same. We would lose the gable detail in the front with the shake and the vent, and that would essentially become roof shingles.
So the gable goes away, and you're looking at that triangle as a hip, a sloped hip, right, that
Correct.
goes back. Okay. And you could do a 6 and 12. That's going to lower this ridge lower than 2.
Correct.
Okay. I don't know, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but does that seem reasonable?
Yeah,
We-
that
And it
seems-
keeps that porch, and we just getting this thing lower.
And then the windows.
And then the windows on the side.
And not opposed to, how do we go to the rear? Basically, in the rear, we would keep the 2 outside windows up top, and then move windows around to the sides.
Well, wait, I thought the neighbors didn't want the windows on the side.
Well,
so
that's, I mean, what
why are we doing that?
we're hearing from people in favor or against, and it's not that
Yeah.
these are just kind of suggestions by other folks that speak in favor or against. It's still, I mean, you have a neighbor that doesn't want someone looking into their backyard, but then we have kind of like the general feel and appearance of these homes on all 4 sides, where you have windows on all 4 sides generally. And I think there'll be shades drawn, and we don't have to worry about
Yeah.
too much imposition on privacy.
Right.
Does that? So instead of 2 twins, you got the outer window is there. But the twin that's on the interior, essentially move that around, and that's somewhere toward the back corner, or would it be farther toward the front to allow for that closet?
I'm able to use a mouse somehow.
I have to control the mouse.
Oh. So essentially, there'd be to the right. There you go.
Yeah.
Closer to the transom window.
So it'd be closer to the front. That
Correct.
allows for that closet to be in the corner.
Correct.
Okay. I'm curious, how long would it take you to get a revised plan to Ben Riggle that shows this change? Like architects, I don't know where you've got these
We
plans.
can probably
but-
get it Monday.
Okay.
So that can go through bypass, correct?
Based on this description.
Yeah.
This is a whole new world, isn't it, Gina and Linda? Do you have,
No, I
Gina,
believe.
strong feelings that we should move this to, keep this open until
Yes.
June?
Yes, I have very strong feelings. I do believe that a redesign would be we can't redesign it hypothetically in this
Yeah.
meeting. I'm also wanting to make sure if we are referencing anything that was shown that was not part of the record, that needs to be part of the record. I do believe that it probably needs to be continued to the next meeting and that redesign submitted for consideration, because that can't go through the bypass. It's up to you to determine that this is congruent with the district as a whole. So that we really need to see it,
we hear
in my
that.
opinion.
Would we need to see it if we left all the windows, everything alone except a 6x612 hip roof? Would that still need to go for another month, or could that be approved tonight? If it's only the roof?
I don't think that's the only issue, though.
Well, then,
I think that my comfort zone is that it would be resubmitted, that if we are redrawing anything, if it is one thing to say, okay, we're going to move the window to the side. That is much easier, I think, to picture. We have a member of the public here who has spoken twice. They have not been privy to this photograph that has been shown, and
Yeah,
I believe
point.
that I would, my recommendation is that it would be resubmitted and it would be continued to the next hearing.
Thank you. So I know how construction development works, and you're building something in a historic district that's highly desirable, and people want to be here, and this is going to work out in a very long-term plan. It's going to work. Sometimes these little things come up, and it sounds like there's going to be about a 4-week delay.
Is there any way to try to proceed forward with a motion that the existing front elevation stays with the 612 pitch to lower it down?
Well, then you got the windows on the sides as well.
Maybe we'd see if we pass, and if we don't, then we can readdress that.
Oh, but here's the problem with us taking a vote. Let's say we get it down to a 612, and someone makes a motion and we vote on that. If it fails, then you have a whole new application process as opposed to continuing this to next month. It streamlines this presentation when it comes back and your requirements to get this back to us. Because when is the deadline for that's like. So, right. So if this fails, then now is it August really? That would be, or July?
can't do July?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So instead of this being a 1-month pause, it's a 2-month pause if this doesn't fly with a 6 and 12 alone, which I'm not, I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if a 6 and 12 is enough to get this to everything we've discussed. I don't know if lowering the roof to a 6 pitch instead of an 8, which makes it maybe a foot shorter.
Also,
architect?
I think to our attorney's point, not everyone has seen that design.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about something,
Thank you.
as she stated, hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical. So I think we're just looking at a pause here for a month. We're going to have to see a new plan and accommodate these things, and let's see what it looks like.
Can we get some feedback if the front porch would be acceptable or not? So that
Sounds like we were there, yeah.
Okay,
We're there,
okay.
except the roof. And-
Can't guarantee, but I think we're all going to be here next month, at least most of us. So I think, yeah, based on what we're hearing, I think it's going to work out, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you very much.
Sure. Would someone like to make a motion to continue this then until next month? And what is that date of the, what is the date of the second Thursday of June? What is
June
that?
11th.
June 11th. Okay, so if someone can make a motion to,
What's the date?
June 11th, Thursday?
11th.
June 11th, yeah.
I move to move agenda item 3, 814 Macumber Alley, MJW 25-2605, to the July meeting on July 11th, or June, I'm
June.
sorry.
June
Christ.
11th.
Jeez.
Okay.
June 11th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Item 4, 511 Gray Street.
It's not as tall.
Adjustable.
Okay. Hearing number 4 is for the proposed construction of a new rear 2-story porch on the north facade of 511 Gray Street. The property is located on the north side of Gray Street, 2 parcels west of the intersection of Grace and 6th Street. The subject house is a contributing resource to the historic district residential. In this district, all facades of the building and site are subject to design review. The following property description is adapted from the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Report. Constructed circa 1926, the chateau-esque 2-story house has a mansard roof, 3 pediment bell-cast gable wall dormers, and an enclosed flat roof attached porch. This slide shows the applicant's provided site plan and photograph of the rear yard with measurements looking southeast. The proposed porch footprint is approximately 12 feet deep by 25 feet wide and 10 feet in height without the 2nd-story railing. This slide shows the applicant provided rendering of the proposed project looking south towards the rear facade. The porch exterior will have a stuccoed finish to match the existing home. The stucco will be sand-like in texture, and the color will match the original structure in color as possible. The porch will be raised approximately 3 feet from the existing grade to the porch floor. The foundation will be a wooden crawl space construction with a 24 by 24 pine wood crawl space access door. Staff would like to clarify that there will be 2 crawl space access doors, one located on the left and one located on the right side of the structure. There will be 3 stucco columns with arched openings constructed. The columns will be an 8 by 8 post wrapped with OSB and waterproof membrane before stucco application. Here we have the applicant submitted elevation drawings showing the proposed rear elevation looking south. Staff would like to note that this depiction of the elevation was resubmitted by the applicant to better represent the stairway. A stucco fireplace will be installed on the left side of the lower porch, approximately 72 inches wide by 19 inches deep, centered on the left opening when viewed from the rear yard. Future plans include a vent-free gas firebox requiring no visible exterior vent. A final fireplace design is recommended to be approved through the administrative bypass process. This slide shows the material samples for the porch floor tile and proposed lighting. The flooring will be a 12 by 12 honed porcelain tile in a light gray with antique white veining installed in a diamond pattern. The proposed lighting will be a 2 pendant lantern style fixture located on the first floor of the porch. There will be a tongue and groove ceiling stained in a walnut-like color. This slide shows the proposed lower level concrete balustrade components. The lower level balustrade comprises of concrete baluster with a vase-like profile, matching the newel post and rail design to reflect the French chateau style of the home. Here we have the examples of the proposed 2nd floor door and upper level railing. The 2 existing vinyl windows on the upper level will be replaced by a 36-inch by 80-inch unfinished pine 6 light tempered glass French door to be stained by a walnut or a similar color. Then the upper Then the upper level railing will be a black aluminum railing, and it will be installed in 6 sections at, 6 feet sections at 36 inches tall. Additionally, staff would like to note, beyond the replacement of the 2 vinyl windows with the French doors on the upper level, there will be no alterations to any existing windows or openings. If the commission elects to issue a certificate of appropriateness, the staff recommends the following conditions be placed. Final fireplace design will be approved through the administrative bypass. No tree shall be removed as a result of this project. All construction must comply with applicable law, codes, and permits. Any changes or modifications to the plan will require additional HPC if minor, or if staff review if minor. Staff would like to enter staff would like to enter the presentation and report into records of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is the applicant in attendance, and could you, if so, would you please come forward, or would you like to come forward and answer any questions or provide clarification? If you'd state your name and address, please.
I'm Landon Beal, 511 Gray Street.
Matt Roney, 511 Gray Street.
Okay. Anything to add, or?
I will just add that it's taken us a really long time to determine the aesthetics and the style of this porch, and we took a lot of time to make sure that it matched the French chateau style of the home, so we were very particular about the products and the selections that we put forth.
But you couldn't wrestle ChatGPT to keep those windows in your rendering.
We tried our best.
At least it wasn't like an arm of a gorilla sticking out or something like that.
Several times.
Still playing with it, yeah.
Any questions?
No, I love this house, and it's beautiful.
It's like amazing.
I mean,
It's improved
awesome.
quite a bit. It was getting in pretty bad shape. I just have the roof, which is pretty irreplaceable, and hate to ever see it go. I mean, is that in fairly good shape? Is it not leaking? Is it okay up there?
No leaks? Yeah.
No leaks, thank God. Okay, all right. Please.
I just want to say how much I appreciate your stewardship of this home. I don't know of any other homes in this style in the district.
It's wonderful.
It's so special, so thank you for stewarding it so thoughtfully.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just have one question for you guys. I think it is such a cool house and it's so different. And looking at the front elevation and then kind of looking at the rear that you've proposed with the arches, I wonder if like the horizontal of the dormer and the windows, I wonder if like a straighter horizontal, I'm sure you looked at options. Can you talk about the arch a little bit?
Yeah, so what you're looking at on the front, that porch was not original to the home.
Yeah, sorry, on the rear. You have like some arches proposed on the rear.
I'm sorry, I don't know. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Just the arches on the back that you're proposing. I'm looking at that rendering, kind of comparing it to the front. Yeah, oh, there. So those arches, would you talk about those a little bit? And I think just, I'm struggling a little bit with like the horizontality of the dormers on the front and then kind of the curve of those. I think it's a beautiful proposal. I'm just kind of trying to reconcile the two. I'm not a chateau expert. I know you guys have done your research, so just talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, I'm tall. We actually discussed that originally. We had discussed having it, flat, but the more that we studied the French architecture, we saw that, so we thought that was more appropriate for the house.
Okay, I think it's a really nice proposal. I was just curious.
Thank you. And sorry, I misunderstood your question.
No worries.
Anyone else?
No,
Good?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak in favor or against? Okay, all right, thank you for, if you want to be seated, thank you. So moving to commissioner deliberation, anything else to do with this, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Motion to approve the rear double porch construction at 511 Gray Street.
A second.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I am not even reading it. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Hang on.
511 Grace.
Yes.
Here.
Nope,
Is it, you don't have
I
it?
didn't get one.
Want me to do it just to get it done? Here we go. Let's
Thank
get
you.
this
I
over.
move to approve with conditions the request to
Okay.
construct, request to construct a rear double porch for the property located at 511 Gray Street. This request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh, whatever.
I think Ashley won. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right.
Best of luck with that. Next agenda item, number 5, 218 McRae Street.
All right. Hearing, still gonna make this a little. Hearing 5 is for the proposal to replace the rear windows with composite windows at 218 McRae Street. 218 McRae Street is the 4th townhome from the south end of Pulvlot Block, a 9-unit townhouse complex. The property sits on the east side of McRae Street, mid-block between Chestnut Street and to the south of Grace Street and to the, between Chestnut Street to the south and Grace Street to the north. The rear of the building faces Withdrawn Alley. The building is a contributing resource to the residential historic district. In this district, all facades are subject to design review. The following property description is adapted from the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Report. Constructed circa 1919, the townhouse features an alternating hipped roof porch and paired windows at the principal story, a mix of paired and single 1/1 windows on the second story. The porch are supported by square posts which shelter the glazed upper panel entrance doors. Windows are 1/1 sash accented by the flat arches and keystones. The high parapet is punctuated at each apartment division by stepped projections. The rear facade is visible from the townhome's rear common area and Withdrawn Alley. Staff notes that the rear windows currently have storm coverings. The applicant proposes replacing 6 windows on the rear elevation with Anderson 100 series composite windows. The scope includes 4 individual single windows and 2 single windows sharing 1 opening, all in 1/1 light configuration. Staff notes that the composite windows are a FiberX material, which is a blend of 40% reclaimed wood fiber and 60% thermoplastic polymer. All replacements will be white in color, same location, same 1/1 design, and as close as possible in the size to the existing windows. No alterations to the windows openings are proposed. If the commission approves the request, staff recommends 4 conditions. All windows shall be clear with no tint. There shall be no alterations to the window openings. All construction must comply with applicable law, codes, and permits. Any changes or modifications to the plan will require additional Historic Preservation Commission or staff review. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Do we have a sample?
Yeah,
A sample of the window?
of the window.
Ooh.
Yeah, because just looking at a picture, it's very difficult.
Looked at this one before.
I have another question. What is the legal name of this property?
It's, what?
Because I have a document here saying it's a condominium, and you keep saying a townhouse, so I'm a little confused on that, too. I mean, for some reason, the document here says Victoria Condominium.
That was the original, that was the name back in the early
That's
80s and 90s.
The HOA,
Oh.
the HOA that runs the home, the 9 residents are a member of the HOA as the Victoria Condo Association. The houses were built as townhouses back in the day and eventually became a condominium type complex.
So legally, it's not a townhome, it's a condominium now? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Isn't the townhome the style of the home?
No, it is not. It's a legal description. Trust me, I know this.
Townhome.
You know it, I know.
So you own the property below you. A condominium, you only own what's inside.
Space.
And what is the purview of And where is the HOA in any of this, is
Well,
what he's
because in
getting
a
to.
condo, I
Yeah.
mean, documents can state that the unit owner may or may not be responsible for the windows. I'm just trying to get all that straight before, and also we need to know these windows, which that's another problem I have with this.
The way I understand it is each individual property, each individual owner of the house owns the property as well, but they're all part of the HOA.
Basically, all exterior walls, the roof and all that would be common area in a condo, whereas in a townhome, it would actually be, the FHA calls a townhome a single-family property attached. So it's a whole different legal.
It depends on their bylaws, though. The bylaws.
Yeah, that's when I saw a condominium, like, and you keep saying townhome, and I'm like, whoa, wait, I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around what we're talking about, condo or townhome.
But I think the individual owners are responsible for their own windows.
That's the way I understand it.
Well, it can be in a condo. I've had many condos where they are responsible, and they have to be approved to change with the board, which I assume it's been done.
But usually they're also, in these HOAs, there are regulations as to what kind of windows. You just don't go throw windows in there.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well,
which I'm assuming they're doing that process, and we're just looking at the windows.
we don't.
But I'm just trying to get a little clarity here.
Yeah.
I see your guys' point. I guess when I was referring to them as townhomes, I was referring to them as their historic reference.
What they referred to them as originally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, back to the other question. Do we have a sample of this window?
We do not.
And are these windows currently, what's the matter with the windows currently? Do you know that?
It's the request of the owner.
But we need to know, what are the windows now made out of?
They're currently the wood windows with storms on the front. And I believe they are here to answer that. Yeah, the other questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Of course.
If the applicant would like to come forward, please, and answer questions or provide any clarification, maybe that might be a good start.
Hello, Commissioners. I can attempt at least.
Yeah.
So I'm the designated agent for this unit, which is 218 McRae. The next property on the docket is actually one that I own, which is 214 McRae. So I'm relatively knowledgeable,
Sir,
so I'll do
can
my
you
best to
state
answer
your
your
name?
questions.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Name and
I'm
address.
David King, and I'm the designated agent for 218, and my address is 214 McRae.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So as you were, please, describing your relationship and what's going on here.
So I'll try to recall the questions that I heard asked. These windows are actually failing. They're wooden windows, the ones on the rear of the home. We've already done a minor COA and agreed to do the front of the homes with wood to maintain the historic value. On the rear of the home, one of the issues that's been plaguing all of these units is the way the original stucco was applied. It's just been a battle for us to keep the integrity there. One of the reasons all of the units are pushing towards composite windows is they just generally take less maintenance. This is the rear of the home, very low visibility, and the windows that we're using have actually been the windows that have been recommended repeatedly by multiple contractors and windows experts that we've come in that would be the best match, both in size and how they look.
Is there any evidence that, like, what's when you say they're failing, what are they rotting? They're not opening?
So they're the old pulley system. Most of them are inoperable as far as mechanically. We've had experts come in to try to work on them with no success. And there's actually water penetration into the rear of this home at the windows.
Okay, so do you have a sample of the window you want to put in? Here's the deal. We've had composite windows approved, and we've had composite windows not approved.
Yes, sir.
Now, some of them look like wood once they're painted, and some look like a vinyl window. So I guess what I'm asking is, do you have a sample so we know what we're talking about here? Is a wood look composite, or is it a vinyl look composite?
No, sir. I don't have a physical sample. We submitted a specification packet and a brochure that has multiple pictures and things like that. They're a high-quality Anderson window, but I don't have a physical sample, no, sir.
It also stated in there that the window size was going to be close, but it didn't say they were going to fit.
It's within
exactly?
It's within 1/8 of an inch. When we say close, I think the original windows are 5/8, and these new windows are 3/8. So I guess a 1/4 inch.
I have his original measurements on an extra sheet if you guys would like that, or we could read it out. so you can
Okay.
see the different measurements.
I just think that that's asking for trouble.
It's fairly common, ma'am, when you replace windows that they don't match.
So these
That's
are
exactly.
replacement windows, not new windows, because you cannot remove the stucco to do the flashing and everything. This is,
There will be some stucco repair necessary.
but you're
anyway
not
in placing
carrying.
these, but we're not.
Yeah,
They're not new construction.
There's no
windows.
nailing strip around these windows, or none of this is going on. These are just stuck in.
Yes,
And
sir.
then, okay.
So you keep the existing frame, take the sashes out, presumably, keep the existing frame and put a new frame. Because these aren't sash replacements, these are replacement windows. So there's another frame going inside the existing frame.
Correct. The opening will remain exactly as is. The entire window unit will be removed, so frame and sashes, and a new window frame and sashes will be inserted.
And each individual's owner, I presume, in this building, this row of dwellings is responsible for their own windows.
Yes, sir. Each
Right.
unit's responsible for their own windows, their own roof, their own utility lines.
Their own roof also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What about the stucco? What are the problems with the stucco that this building has had?
Just over the years, mostly water penetration around the windows, or I'm not sure how familiar y'all are, but this part of the neighborhood, I've owned a unit since 2007. Even since 2007, it's pretty impressive how much that area has changed. But there's just been a lot of neglect. These units are 126 years old, I think. The primary damage that I've seen there are through the windows or through negligence on the back rear gutter line and water backing up into the roofs, which is not the case anymore. Now all of the new owners are pretty proactive in trying to make improvements.
Right. Other questions?
And if it would be acceptable, we could get a sample to the commissioners relatively quickly. We weren't aware and didn't think to bring one.
Okay.
Ben, do you remember, have we seen a sample of this window?
Yeah, it came in as, it would have been out in Carolina Heights district. We had a gentleman, no, that was an aluminum frame one. Yeah, we have had a Fibrex sample before.
Okay.
As one of the ones you guys looked at several months ago now.
And we approved it?
No, we didn't.
Oh, we did not approve
That
it.
one
did
was
not.
denied, because, yeah,
But that was on a front elevation, I think you had mentioned, right?
yes, that was all, it was around the viewable facades in Carolina Heights.
Why, so how are the windows in the front, are they just because of the orientation to the setting sun, they're in better condition, or are they maintained? How are the front windows on this unit maintained as opposed to the rear? Because these you say are, and I don't have, unfortunately we don't have any evidence. Like it would be really nice, because the standard we have for the Secretary of Interior standards are deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than be replaced, and retain and preserve original windows and doors, including repair the parts and not an entire window. But what's happening? What's different on the front where you're not having these issues on the front, or are you having issues on the front?
We are. So the front windows, just out of consultation and experience and having been here, we didn't even want to fight changing them from wood. So we've just agreed to change them from wood, and that to change them like for like, which are actually a slightly inferior fit. The new wood windows available are a little bit smaller than these are, but we just went forward with a minor COA on those, and it's already been approved. So the front is going to be replaced with wood for wood.
Wood.
Yes, sir. And I have to tell you, so we don't have a particular issue with going for wood and wood on the back. The composite windows that we're actually looking at are more expensive. We just think they'll be better for the building, because the less people have to touch these windows, the less it's going to affect our facade, and the constant repaint and the pulley system and things like that. But we thought it would be an improvement. That's why we're going for
I
composites.
think my question was going to be, have you considered replacing wood for wood? And you're saying you have considered that?
Absolutely. So if we are rejected today for the composite, which is not our preference, we have already planned to do wood for wood if it's rejected. But we all felt that the composite was actually a superior product, a more expensive product. a
So by the
superior.
same token, the wood for wood, though, in the front actually changes the look of the window more than if you put composite in the front, because you stated that it was taking up more space.
It's negligible. Again, I think it's an additional 1/4 inch.
Only a quarter?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And there's pretty ornate, or not ornate, but there's a built-up wood frame around it and trim and things like that we know we'll be able to accommodate.
I think the point that you're making is really valid, and it's something I struggle with too. Like, it's not the original window that you're putting back in. It's going to be an inferior wood window that they'll have issues with again down the line. So you're trying to be proactive and use this product that will have a longer lifespan, and it's not on the front. I think I feel like you were kind of trying to compromise there with us. So I kind of think that this is a reasonable request, but I might be alone on that.
And also, too, the windows that are there are not believed to be the original windows to begin with. There was a major renovation and change of ownership in the 80s, and that's when all the windows seem to be there, but they're absolutely not the original 120-year-old windows.
Do they have ropes? Are there ropes holding up the set?
There are.
They're not from the 80s then.
The original windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think knowing that you would be willing to replace wood with wood is significant.
And so you mentioned the experts and the people. Like, did you have the folks you had come out to look at these windows and advise on what to do about these? Were they window replacement specialists, or were they specialists in restoring historic wood windows?
So we had a smaller consultant come out who felt like it was pretty negligible, other than maintaining and getting it approved by the historic board. And then we had a professional, and I forget his name, but I could pull it up pretty quickly, who works with Builders First Source and specializes in downtown, and he came and saw them recently as well.
But you haven't had someone that specializes in restoring original historic wood windows. It's only been people that replace windows.
Well, I believe we had somebody come out 6 or 7 years ago, and it was like the person who was able to work on the windows wasn't able to give us any guarantees on what was going to happen with the substructure with the stucco, and they declined to work with us. They felt it was too difficult of a job because of the stucco.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Good? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll be back up for the next one, but do you want me to go?
Yeah, please. Yeah. Does anyone would you like to speak in favor or against? Okay. Commissioner deliberation. What are our thoughts about this proposal? Would someone like to?
I don't think we've got enough information.
Agreed, completely.
I don't know what the windows look like that are there, if they're actually the old windows or they were installed in the 90s. It sounds like with the pulleys and the ropes and the sash that they are the original windows.
So it's evidentiary, and we haven't seen the evidence.
And we haven't. And we
So-
don't know what we don't know if someone has come in there and said they could repair them. And only people that seem to have been in there want to sell them expensive vinyl windows.
Well, whether they're expensive or not, they want to sell them windows because that's all they do is sell.
Yeah.
They don't repair what's there. So, yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, having some evidence of what, and this is, I think, an issue with these, you can almost look at any home in the historic district and have someone come to staff and say, my windows are failing and I want to put in new wood windows, and staff is going to allow that to happen, which I don't think is an advisable path forward starting immediately, personally. But there's no evidence that we just need to see something. Like, we need to see, like, yeah, these are damaged, because we have this kind of mandate by the city and how this all came about with having a preservation commission in the city of Wilmington, that we're abiding by these preservation standards by the National Park Service, and not having the evidence, but also quickly opting just to go ahead and allow for windows to be replaced with whether the wood or not, because these windows can be repaired and restored, but I'm not seeing that that's been pursued, and I'm not seeing evidence of what the issue is right now. But someone can make a motion.
I have another question, though. So if they bring evidence, that pictures or whatever, that these windows are shot, what's the feeling of, do they have to be wood again? Or if the composite, we've already had this discussion on windows, if the composite looks like a wood window, but would maintenance-wise outlast wood on this building, would be conducive to allowing that?
The hypothetical, I think you have to, it stops at if the windows are shot.
We haven't seen them.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, we'd have, that's just it, we'd have to.
I mean, we saw those windows before, and they were not congruous with the neighborhood.
Well, if that's the window, then no, they're not. But I mean, there's so many composites out there now, you can't even keep track. That's, all right, well, all right.
But we don't know, because we don't have a picture of them.
Or
we don't have
sample.
an example,
Yeah.
or sample, or...
I think the highest, the standard is to not replace with wood, and not to replace with Fibrix, and not to replace with vinyl, but it's to restore the windows that are there by finding. And the Historic Wilmington Foundation has a preferred contractor or preferred vendor list, and they have a list of people there that work on these kinds of windows and know how to restore them and take care of them. But that said, I'm not gonna commandeer this further. But if someone would like to make a motion, and we'll just see how that goes.
What do we motion?
I think the motion, it's about they're seeking to replace all 6 of these windows. So looking at that photograph that's on your screen right there, you got 3 on the second floor, the twin on the bottom left, and you got the skinnier one to the left of the door, that all of those are replaced.
So are we motioning to deny, approve, or are
I
we
don't know what the
motioning to
motion is because
continue?
we haven't heard it yet.
Okay.
Because we didn't hear from any of the public, and now it's commission deliberation. So to close commissioner deliberation, someone needs to make a motion, either approving or denying the installation of the Fibrix windows, or
Well, doesn't it sound like we just want more information before we make a decision?
or continue it
I think
until
it makes
next
sense
month
to
to get.
continue it, get some up-close pictures of the current condition, and then get pictures of the actual windows that are going to go in there is probably, yeah, come on.
Yeah, if you could address that concept.
Then I know, in general, we don't want to oppose the historic standards. Can we withdraw and just go forward with the minor COA to replace like with like? Because we don't want to fight anybody. We're just trying to do what we thought was better for the building.
Yeah, like I said, I don't agree with this outlook on these things, that the city they get word from somebody that the windows are failing, and that the city always approves by bypass level just to replace any existing wood window with no evidence that they replace it with a new wood window. So that can be a motion. Someone could make that motion that we replace these wood windows with new wood windows, new wood replacement windows. So that could be a motion.
So I can state definitively that we do not want to move forward with Fibrix windows. If you're in any way opposed, we don't want to. So, and I can't speak for all of the homeowners. I can speak for one of the owners and myself. And I'm a part of the HOA as well as secretary. So if there's any contention whatsoever that we're degrading the building by putting in the Fibrix, we're, at least me and the other unit are 100% okay with not.
Let's see what the windows look like.
I know, I understand, and I don't mind, and I don't mind providing
we
that.
would prefer that they be repaired if they are older windows, which you would save money to
We
repair.
would not. We've gotten quotes that we would absolutely not. We're talking triple or quadruple the price.
Told us that you have not gotten any quotes from
For
anyone.
repairing.
No, I said that we had a specialist come in several years ago, and they gave us such a high quote, and then also declined because of the stucco work. They were unable to do that work as well. So I guess what I'm asking is, and I'm wanting to understand the process. I know for sure that this owner who's asked me to come represent, he's out of town.
Yeah.
I mean, and he said very clearly, and I'll state for mine as well, in no way do we want to like oppose the HPC on this or create any issues. So I guess I'm asking, what would be our next step moving forward to get wood windows approved?
I have a question.
If I may
Yes.
address this question, you always have the ability as the homeowner to withdraw your application, and if something is appropriate for the bypass process, then you reapply or do whatever is necessary. But I wanted to make that very clear that you as the homeowner, or you're acting as the agent, you know, you can relay it to the homeowner. You always have the ability to withdraw the application.
Okay.
I just have a question on the windows. When you say the windows are, okay, are we talking just the sashes, or is the frame itself
Most of the sashes are inoperable. The fit over time around the frame and where the stucco is has degraded. Most of them are letting water in. The windows themselves are, and it's primarily the sashes, but the windows themselves are very rattly and old and low quality glass, or they seem to be. But I can say, in an attempt, I don't want to seem like we're giving up. I don't want to seem like we're in any way trying to be offensive. But we'd withdraw. We don't mind, and we had all discussed that before I came in.
So that's what Gina's saying is
we
starting
will.
effective immediately, you can withdraw this and you can do a bypass, and that bypass may let you just go ahead and remove these wood windows and put in new wood windows of whatever type. And I think everybody in the city of Wilmington, the historic district, can do the same thing. Everybody can come bypass level, including you, at some point here in the near future. Everybody in the city that owns a historic home that has historic windows, if they so choose, they can go to staff, apply to have their existing historic wood windows removed and replaced with like new construction or replacement wood windows. So you can do that right now.
Well, we will withdraw our request to use Fibrex, but we will take it under advisement. Maybe we should talk to another historic window person just to make sure. So we're not sure how we're going to move forward, but we will withdraw our.
I think that is great, and I really appreciate your patience. I really appreciate your willingness to listen and answer questions. The thing is I just as a commissioner here, I do recommend that you speak with somebody who works on old windows, because the way that old windows are designed is to be repaired. They're sort of they're in pieces and parts, and they can be repaired, and they're designed that way. So I think if you're open to speaking to somebody who works on historic windows, you might be surprised.
As I've gotten a little bit older, I'm almost 50, right? I'm pretty confident in the things I know, but I've learned a lot from the things that I don't, and this is one of the ones that I don't. So I defer to y'all who probably know better, and we'll talk to experts as well.
Great. Thank you.
So with that,
it's officially withdrawn at this point?
that's withdrawn. And so there's no motion for us to make, right, Gina, or anything like this. So it's withdrawn, and there's nothing else to talk about with this item.
That's correct.
So agenda item number 6, 214 McRae Street. Ben.
Case 6 is a request for the after-effect approval of a change of location for an accessory structure originally approved by the Historic Preservation Commission in November 2024 under COA number MJW-26-2511. As described in the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion and Additional Documentation Report dated 2003, the Polvgot Block is a 9-unit, 2-story townhouse building constructed circa 1919. The townhouses feature alternating hipped roof porches and paired windows at the principal story, and a mix of paired and single 1/1 windows on the second story. The porches are supported by square posts and shelter the glazed upper panel entry doors. Windows are 1/1 sash units extended by flat arches and keystones. The high parapet is punctuated at each apartment division by stepped projections. The subject property is a contributing resource to Historic District Residential. Revisions to all facades of the building and site are subject to design review in this district. A typo in the property information section of the case summary incorrectly stated that this subject property is a non-contributing resource, when in fact it is a contributing resource. The subject property is located on the east side of McRae Street, approximately mid-block between the intersections with Chestnut Street and to the south and Grace Street to the north. The property is the second townhouse from the southern end of the complex. The applicant requests the after-effect approval of the proposed accessory building initially approved under COA MJW-26-2511. As initially approved, the structure would be located in the northeast corner of the front yard, or of the rear yard, behind the existing house, approximately 7 inches from the side north property line and 7 inches from the rear east property line of the common area, as seen in the initial site plan on the left. However, during foundation and permit inspection, the 12 by 12 foot concrete block foundation was discovered to have been constructed outside of the approved location, beyond the common area boundary line as initially approved by the HPC, as can be seen in this updated site plan on the right. The extent of the mislocation of the foundation may have appeared exaggerated because the fence previously encompassing the rear yard was removed to allow for the construction of the foundation, as this fence was set further back than the remaining rear yard fences, as can be seen in this photo from April 2022 on the left. When the fence was removed to allow the construction of the foundation, it appeared that the foundation was further out of alignment than it really is, as seen in the current overview photo on the right. Because the proposed accessory dwelling unit will now extend beyond the common area boundary line as initially approved, and now will be approximately 5 feet from the rear property line of the HOA property, approval of this new location is required. The remainder of the approved accessory building, including the 7-inch setback from the northern property line, the 6-foot, 8-inch setback from the southern property line, and the proposed design and the materials of the accessory structure remain unchanged. The proposed shed will be 12 feet wide by 12 feet deep and 15 feet 3 inches in height at its tallest point. The overall footprint of the structure is 144 square feet. The shed roof would be asphalt architectural shingles by Timberline in the color charcoal, and the proposed siding is 8-inch concrete fiber planks. The windows on the front elevation will be centered over the upper portion of the facade, and the entry doors will be French doors offset to the right of the building. The left elevation will have a single entry door with a small single window directly above. The right and rear elevations do not propose fenestration. All windows and doors will be Pella, Impervia, fiberglass, non-vinyl windows. A large mature tree, thought to be an ash tree, is located approximately 113 inches from its nearest point to the foundation. There are no major branches over the foundation for the accessory structure, as can be seen on the photo to the left. Staff notes that in a letter dated January 14th, 2026, Shelley Grindoff, president of the Victoria Condominiums HOA, details that the HOA voted to allow David King, owner of Unit 214, to make use of an 8-foot extension from the designated limited common area into the communal common area, as has been granted to other units in the complex. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. All cement fiberboard shall be installed smooth side out with the texture size hidden and a maximum reveal of 5.5 inches. All construction shall comply with code, and any changes to the project shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I don't know if I was here for this meeting when this was approved originally, because I'm looking at the case overview, and the applicant is requesting after the fact approval of the location of an accessory building, but you make it here sound like, are we re-reviewing something that was already approved for like the fiber cement and the window and the door and
I was just providing a reminder of what was already provided.
Okay.
I should have been a little clearer about that.
So this is really just about, so that's all been
That's
approved?
been approved, yes.
Now it is just the location, right?
Yeah, it's instead of the red line on the box, it's now the blue line on the box.
Has has an arborist been consulted at all about how close that is to the ash tree?
No, as far as I know.
Ben, is that any kind of a emergency easement? I mean, it's just kind of strange the way that back alley is. It's like, is that supposed to be for, I don't know, fire trucks or something back there? Or is
It's
just
a common area.
That's
There
all
is
it
no
is.
easement over it.
No easements and
As best as I
nothing.
can tell, it's just a common area.
Okay.
There are two technically common. There's a 21-foot common area and then an 8-foot extension to get the 29 feet.
There's a fence across it too further on. I was like, what is this thing?
The fences are a little misleading as well, because I don't think they are related to the line. There's some
some confusion regarding the survey. The survey's older, and I'm not
So
sure.
There's no problem with Duke Energy or anybody, you know, it's just, okay.
Because the HOA's property line extends to that top line, right?
Yes.
Where the top arrow, the red arrow pointing at that
Yes.
horizontal, okay.
Yeah, it'll be 5 feet from that now.
I mean, I would think that would be an HOA issue. If there's no
That-
problem, that's not
That's
our
the letter
concern.
provided by
Yeah.
the HOA has explained that.
Okay. Any other questions for Ed? No? Okay, thank you. So if you'd like to come forward, please, to speak to this, maybe help us understand what happened here.
Hello, I'm David King. I live at 214 McRae. No, I'm sorry. It's getting a little bit late. So I can give you a little bit of history here. At one point in time preceding me, again, I bought this unit in 2007. I guess the neighbors did somewhat arbitrarily decide to build that back fence. They wanted to keep some of the neighbors out. Most of those owners have since changed hands to new owners. And now that area behind the fences have become somewhat of a nuisance. A lot of people dump their trash there. There's several Airbnbs there, which we're not particularly opposed to. There's a lot of
The common areas?
yeah, in that common area. So at one
neglected.
point, and I think I think his name was Bob Jenkins, was our oldest resident at one point in time. But so he had kind of told us the story that everybody built those fences to somewhat draw a line and keep people out. Now, as the area's gotten a lot better, that area's become kind of a dumping ground because it's behind the fences, but not on anybody else's property. Actually, just 2 weeks ago, we had to haul off a significant amount of trash from there that wasn't any of the owners. So one of the things we had talked about as an HOA was reclaiming some of that space into the individual units and things like that. So I have to apologize that it was after the fact. After we got the COA and after some of these HOA discussions, the HOA had approved for me to do so, and I didn't realize until we got caught by inspection that that needed to be re-reviewed as well. I stopped immediately, and then, here we are. But now the desire is to push that building back a little bit, re-fence it, and then that way we're using some of that kind of discarded land behind the property.
So I'm sorry, do you feel like that the HOA at some point is going to just say, let's disregard the common area and allow everyone to have their backyards farther back?
We already have voted to allow that as users would like to.
Yeah, 'cause
And there's 2 other units that have been allowed to do it already as well.
Actually, right across from you, we approved that fence maybe a couple months ago for that. I think it's another Airbnb over there.
Yes, sir.
So, okay.
It's just kind of become a dead alley.
Yeah.
I wish Bob was here to talk about this. That would be cool. Okay, gotcha. So the HOA has said, we're going to do away with this common area because I don't know what benefit that common area would have provided anyone ever in the first place. But so presumably going forward, people are going to start moving as fences maybe need to be rebuilt. They're just going to maybe just extend them all the way back and capture that.
After going through the appropriate historic review process, yes.
You might want to think about doing them all at one time, otherwise you're going to be in here, several?
And did you build this?
Yes, sir.
You're having this built? And like, again, whenever this was, I think a year or 2 ago, but what happened, like, was there a site plan at that meeting that showed where you're going to do it? And did you go outside of that?
I did, yes, sir. Or I went outside. So if you look at the red lines, that's what was originally approved. And then, like I said, in somewhat, I guess not casual, formal HOA discussion, when we had those discussions of kind of reclaiming that alley as it became a problem, we moved it, and it wasn't appropriate, and we got stopped at inspection. We passed several inspections before that was caught, and they asked us to stop. They told us that needed to go back to historic review. We thought after we presented the HOA letter that would be enough, but Ben and his people were able to inform me that wasn't enough. We now needed to come back and go through review.
When I read that letter, my initial fear was that this current version of the HOA may be fine with it extending beyond into that common area, but that a future HOA may have some thing to do with that, and they'd be, kind of like out of luck because someone had already brought this building in. But if your whole group now is deciding just to go ahead and take that over, it's not, I guess that I'm not as concerned about a future HOA being hamstrung by what this current HOA has done. You know what I mean? So.
Unusual situation.
Yeah, it certainly is. Any other questions for the applicant? No?
You might want to talk to a lawyer about amending your declarations on this. you know, converting the common to limited common or doing something legal, just because he's right. You know, some board can come along in 10 years and go, we don't like any of this, and then it'd be a big fight then. So just, you know, do it legally the right way and get it done.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Seeing no one else in the audience to speak in favor or against, Commissioner deliberation, would someone like to make a motion, or do we have additional thoughts about this?
Anybody?
If I may, prior to, if there is a motion to approve, may I ask that you add the condition that it is subject to all conditions that are not inconsistent with COA MJW-26-2511? Does that make sense? So that it references that prior COA in this one, and that if this is only if there is a motion to approve, that the fourth condition be that this is subject to all conditions not inconsistent with that previous COA.
Okay.
I think that would be for ease of future reference to what has occurred here.
I move to approve with conditions the request for the after-the-fact approval of the location of an accessory building initially approved by COA MJW-26-2511 for the property located at 214 McRae Street. This request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report. Conditions 1, all fiber cement board be installed smooth side out and have a reveal of 5.5 inches. All construction shall comply with code, and any changes shall be approved. And the additional fourth condition that any conditions of the previous COA MJW-26-2511 be also included.
Is there a second? Stephen seconds. Is all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay. Any items from commission? That was our last agenda item. Any items from commission?
I have a question.
Beth
Oh,
has a
no,
question.
no, no, you're good, you're good. So I know we have talked about this before. Any updates on the Bridgers Mansion, Greystone? I'm sure I get asked all the time.
Oh, yeah.
No, I have not heard anything about that recently, unfortunately.
I think there's some concern because it's exposed to the elements.
Well, last I had heard, they still have not had a formal insurance evaluation because it was not stable enough to have a proper insurance inspection. So I'm not sure how stable they've gotten it, if they've been able to get an insurance inspector into there. My hope is once they're able to get the debris out of the way and stabilize, that things will move quicker.
Just out of curiosity, are they staying in touch with you?
I'm not really reached out to them either. I've been dealing with trying to keep up with.
I kind of have some stuff going on. Fair.
Yeah, but they're definitely concerned about. People are concerned about it. People are paying attention. So
yes,
I have been asked numerous times about it.
Not necessarily that it would be your purview, but no one in code enforcement has, there's nothing, I don't know anything about the city's code and anything about houses that have partially burned and are standing there, but there's no way to force more information for
yeah,
that
I mean,
perspective.
I could probably, yeah, that's a challenge because we don't want to penalize them when they're already in a precarious situation.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to them. I'll have more information next meeting.
I think that would be great if
I'll touch
you
base.
and fully respect how much work everyone is doing. I think kind of given the stature of the property, it would be great for all of us to have a little bit more information.
It's been a
if you
while.
can get it.
Time goes pretty quick when you're not thinking about
Yes.
it until you start thinking. It's like, well, it's been about 3 months since I
Right.
talked to anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Items from commission, questions, and then staff. Any items from staff before we conclude the meeting? No? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Move to adjourn.
For Ross. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much.